About a year before our 80th birthday, I just mentioned to Ellie one day, Ellie, wouldn't it be fun to go around the world in 80 days at age 80? So we planned the whole trip ourselves, every hotel, every airline, and our average cost of our whole 80 days we were gone, average cost of our hotels per night, per person, $29 a piece. And that usually included breakfast.
Welcome to Midlife Dialogues, where I'm continuing my conversation with Ellie Hamby and Sandy Hazlett, who have built themselves a hugely interesting next chapter in their 80s. Had you read the Jules Verne book?
Oh, absolutely.
And seen the movie.
Yes.
And COVID shut it down that year. So we did not get to go when we were 80, but COVID didn't shut us down. So we made the trip the following year, and our new theme was
Around the World in 80 Days at 81 and Still on the Run.
Oh, that's great. And you went to all 7 continents. That's amazing.
Because of the timing, we wanted to be sure that we first went to Antarctica. That is quite an experience. There are no airlines that have scheduled trips to Antarctica. There are some cruise ships that go in the area.
They don't go on land, but they're in
it. We flew down to the tip of South America and took an expedition ship through the Drake Passage. And we made it to Antarctica.
Yeah, the Antarctic is to me is one of the most phenomenal places to visit. Not that many people are able to go there. It's just amazing to stand there and look at a place that has so little. Well, no one lives there permanently. I mean, they have research stations, and they're 6 months, off and some research stations are even open during the winter time, but there's no permanent residence there except for millions of penguins and things like that. But it's just to see the icebergs, the ice mountains, the penguins. It's just a view that so few people actually can put their eyes on, and just making a 360 circle and just looking at all of it is just phenomenal.
It must almost feel prehistoric because you're seeing a place that is not developed and that is not surrounded by the stuff we're used to seeing.
No shops. You can't go shopping. We're not shoppers anyway, but there's nothing there.
No hotels.
I like more adventure things. I loved Easter Island. We went there. That's one of the most remote islands in the world. And I'm just fascinated by the mysteriousness of the Moai.
Bali was a total island of just beauty. I mean, orchid parks, butterfly parks, but the whole island was absolutely like you're just in paradise. It was just gorgeous.
That's lovely. Now, I know you book all your own travel, as you've been saying. You carry your own bags. You must be master packers.
Light and very light. Just a few changes of clothes. We're washing clothes in the sink. And now we can find a place that does pretty reasonable laundry. We dump it all, have it there. But we don't pack a whole lot. We just keep wearing same thing over and over again. And we had our T-shirts, and we had 2 of those, and we just wore those a lot.
You must get asked about that a lot.
That drew a lot of attention. It really did.
Yeah.
People would stop us and ask us about it at the beginning of the trip, but by about the middle, we'd been on international TV, most of the national networks, and people had seen us, and we were in Japan at Shinjuku train station, the busiest train station in the world. 3.5 million people a day go through there, and we're wanting to buy a ticket to Mount Fuji. And we're standing out there, and all those 3.5 million people are just buzzing right around us, and they know exactly where we're going. We're the only ones lost. We just couldn't figure out. And there was not any English, very little English. And this young man comes up to us, and we have our T-shirts on, and he says, "I know you." And we said, "What? You know us?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "I'm Ziggy from Slovenia, and I read about you in the London Daily Mail. And now here we are together in Japan, and it looks like you're having problems." And we said, "Yes, we are. We want to get to Mount Fuji, and we cannot figure out for the life of us how to buy a ticket." And his words were, "Well, you know what I had to do today was not that important. So I'm going to help you ladies get a ticket to Mount Fuji."
And he did.
Ziggy did. And
That's another great
he was
story.
a young man, maybe in his early 30s,
Right.
late 20s. Actually, we found that's kind of more the following we have is that mid area from middle 20s to the 50s.
I think it's because they're so intrigued that at our age, we are doing this by ourselves.
It's just amazing. Now, you're also very active on social media, which
Yes.
is probably why some of these people find you in the first first place. And that's so neat. You have a blog, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have TikTok.
Yeah.
You have a lot of followers. I just looked and you have 69,000 people following you on TikTok.
That's right.
Amazing. You are not normal 80-year-olds. I have to say that.
We were just speaking this morning at a retirement center, and 2 children were there because their mother homeschools them, and she heard we were speaking, and they follow us on our social media. The children do, and they were really cute and asked all these questions, really engaged, and it was quite fun.
And how do you handle your social media?
Well, we have someone that before we started, we realized, okay, I'm a professional photographer, so I can take photos. And we had our own, each of us had our own social media. As I said, Sandy, there's no way we can actually keep all our posts up on our social media while we're traveling because that's too much work. So we had a friend that we knew of, and we said, look, if we paid you, so much per post or whatever we did back then, would you be willing if I send you the pictures and we write up what we want to say pretty much, then could you post it and all that? And so that's what we did. But it's still every night I would spend an hour, hour and a half, working on what we sent.
Right.
And it was her idea, actually, that we start the TikTok. And that didn't start till about 3 weeks before our trip ended. We got the one with 6.4 million views that hit just within a week or 2 after we started.
What is it like to travel on your own, 2 women in your 80s? You both seem sort of fearless. How do you approach all this adventurous travel you're doing?
Sandy and I both love people.
Yes.
And we love adventure and we love doing things. We just can't be still. We have different personalities. I always say Sandy's sweet, kind, gentle, and I'm a little more in your face type personality, but somehow our basic philosophy of life is so similar. We don't get upset. We figure just be positive. And Sandy and I have one major travel advice, and it's one word, and that is smile. Because we found out it doesn't matter what kind of situation you're in, you just smile, and it's amazing how it'll work out. Because if you get upset, then everybody's upset. So we're the master of smilers. I was told that years ago when I was moving to Zambia, somehow we didn't have the proper papers. They said they were sending us back. We tried to enter illegally. So they put us under arrest, detention for 24 hours until we could be flown back to where we came from. So I said, well, can you give me one call to the American Embassy? And they said, yes. So I called the American Embassy in Zambia and I said, this is what's happened. They say they're going to send us back in the morning when the flight goes. And it was at night there. And he said, here's my advice. Just smile and I'll be there at 8 in the morning, but just smile. And I'm telling you, it worked because new guy came on and we were just smiling. He said, why are you here? And he said, oh, I think your papers are good enough. Just go. That was advice from the American Embassy. I'm sure it's not official advice, but that guy told us. And Sandy and I live by that one, just smile.
That's great advice for any situation. I like that. How do your families feel about all of this adventurous travel?
Ellie's family is more accustomed to Ellie's adventuresome travel. My children are a little more concerned. But they're learning.
Mm-hmm. One of our daughters really likes to be engaged. And now with FaceTime, with so much connection around the world, she can do that and they know where their mother is. Mine aren't quite so worried. They know I'll check in every couple days or whatever. But at the beginning, there wasn't a whole lot of easy ways to communicate, but we managed.
Would the children that you two used to be, would they be surprised to see you now and what you're doing at this point in your life?
Oh, yes. I was the quiet, shy, skinny girl all through school. So quiet and shy and skinny, people didn't notice me very much. No, I go back to my high school reunions and it's, what?
Seems like you grew into yourself.
Yeah, both of us. I was shy when I was younger too. I had a very domineering mother. She was wonderful, but she really controlled everything. Unfortunately, I've turned into her now.
What is the most satisfying thing about the way you guys are living your lives now, about doing all this travel and having all these adventures at this point in your life?
Well, one of the things that has been so satisfying about this is that we have heard over and over and over from people that we have brought joy into their lives by following us, and that we have encouraged them and made them think, well, I think maybe I could get up and do something now. And that has just been like icing on the cake for us. The travel was fun and we planned it and we enjoyed it to the hilt. But then on top of that, to hear that we brought joy into other lives, that's awesome.
I think two things too. I think it's the purpose. It gives us a real purpose in life. We also are big on humanitarian. I mean, I just came back from Zambia, been there for 2 months directing the medical mission, and we love doing those things together. And then the fact that we have a purpose in life, just because we're this age doesn't mean, well, we should just get in that chair and watch TV. That this is not going to happen. And we tell people, you don't have to do what we're doing.
First of all, get up out of your easy chair, step out of your comfort zone, make some plans, and live.
That's great.
But I love one of the comments that Ellie has made. Ellie is extremely adventuresome. So people are frequently asking, aren't you scared to do the things y'all do? And Ellie's answer to that is that she would rather fall off the mountain having fun than fall out of the bed
in
at
the
the
nursing
nursing home.
We'll do it as long as we can, and we know we can. Sandy had to have her hip replaced after our South America trip, so she's hanging in there. She's still using cane a little bit,
But I'll be through with that in a couple of weeks now.
yeah,
But you're still going. Did I read you have 4 new knees between you?
absolutely.
Now, you are both 83 years old now. Is that right? How do you feel about being that age?
Well, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, actually, we have a whole different viewpoint on age because the world knows our age. I mean, everybody knows our age now because it's out there blast all over because that's how we became well known. No, I think it's refreshing that we can experience that life doesn't end when you get older. The doors are open. The world's out there. You don't have to do what we did, but just to open your heart and your mind and your arms to the world and just your community. That's all you need. And be a friend.
Absolutely.
But no, we're thoroughly enjoying what we're doing and wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
That's great. How old do you feel?
Well, 16. What do you think? No, maybe 25.
Absolutely.
Except I have to get out of bed and I think, oh, these bones don't quite work like they used to.
Yeah.
But in your heart, I feel very young.
My specialty in medicine is geriatrics. And frequently, people who are not in the geriatric age yet seem to have a mindset that suddenly when someone goes over 65 or 70, they're no longer supposed to have the same joys and the same laughs that someone does at 25. And my question is, why not? I had a lovely patient who was in her 90s. On May the 5th, they had a big party and they all danced around the maypole and then had a big dinner and laughed. And when she was telling her daughter, and her daughter must have been 65 if my patient was 90, her daughter looked at her mother and said, "That is stupid. A bunch of 90-year-olds dancing around the maypole?" And my patient was in my office telling me this, and she was heartbroken that her daughter had said that. And I put my arms around her and gave her a hug. And I said, "My dear, the only thing I can say is your daughter is the one having the problem, not you. What difference does it make what age we are to have fun? We can laugh at the same thing that we could laugh about at 16. It's very sad that age is supposed to make someone different. When I go to bed at 79 and I'm one person, am I supposed to wake up different on my 80th birthday, a different person? No.
Right. If you each had to sum up your lives right now in 3 words, what might they be?
My 3 words: thankful, happy, joy.
Those are good words.
I mean, happiness, joyfulness, thankfulness. I don't know, maybe we think alike.
I guess so. I guess that's why you're such good friends. Is there other advice you would give to others who want to embrace their lives more, whether in big ways or small ones?
Yes, and I do want to say that we all have limitations at any age. I mean, not every 16-year-old high school boy can have the same abilities as every other 16 high school boy on the football field. We all have limitations all our lives, but we are all valuable, and we need to treat everyone else as if they also have value. That never changes.
View the world that every person, no matter who they are, no matter their race, religion, or age, or whatever, there's a person there and they have feelings and they need to be accepted and appreciated. Opening your hearts to humanity, no matter who it is, and appreciating everyone for what they are and what they can do. Some people can do extraordinary things and other people can't. can't, but they can make a difference. And just one life is all it needs.
When we think all varying degrees of handicaps, how handicapped does someone have to become before they lose their value? We never lose our value. God created us valuable, and it is always there.
Do you have a philosophy about living that you say out loud or you think to yourself, or a saying that you live by?
Just embrace life.
I have one, and I talk about it a lot, and that is God has great plans for your life. Get ready.
I understand you have a book coming out from Penguin Random House next year. Tell us about your book.
Well, we are so excited. After we were afforded this ability to have this book, Sandy's written a couple of books that she self-published, and we've never really done anything like this. And we thought, oh, somebody might be interested, but we really didn't know how to do it. And then we had a literary agent right after we got back contact us from New York City, said, I'd like to be your agent. We checked into her. She's great. She's been wonderful. And then when we appeared in the New York Times Sunday edition, then Penguin Random House, an editor contacted us, said, we'd love to do this book. And so we signed a very nice contract with them. It's a book about life. It's a book about our philosophy of life and the things that we were talking about today, as well as all of our wild travel stories and that sort of thing. I think it's going to be a real fun read, a real encouraging read. We're quite excited about it. We're going to make you have us on whenever the book is ready. So
I would love to. When is the book being published?
well, sometime in the spring of
Spring of
2025, next year.
25. So now you're both 83 and you just spent 30 days exploring South America.
Back when we were 82, we did that.
82, and we're not through.
And now we're 83
with more to see.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We're getting ready to go to Australia. We're now doing one continent at a time for about 30 days. We did around the world in 80 days. You know, that worked perfect. There's no, we'll not do it again because it worked wonderful. Now we're just doing one continent at a time. And of course, the Drew Barrymore show, we were on that in April, and they gave us this wonderful trip to New Zealand, all expenses paid, our own trip, not with a tour group. And then we're going to go to some of the islands. Papua New Guinea, some of those islands. That's what we want to see. And New Zealand and the islands.
That's attached to the Australia trip?
It's the Australian continent we're going to.
I see.
Oceania. And those are all part of that continent. That's what we're doing now is continents, the seven continents. So we started, this first one was South America because we were planning to go to Machu Picchu on our trip around the world. And 3 days before we were flying to Peru, all that turmoil and
political unrest shut it down.
And we couldn't fly. And so we said, well, that's only appropriate. The only place we missed on around the world that we were planning to go to was there. So let's go to South America. And we had a great time in South America. And the Amazon was so fun.
That's great. So when is your next trip now, this Oceania?
It'll probably be January, February of 2025.
Thank you so much, Ellie and Sandy. You are amazing. And that was really fun talking to you. I really enjoyed it. And thanks everybody else for watching Midlife Dialogues. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.